Following the long-standing stability of Frank Beamer and staff, we'll see what Justin Fuente has in his first offseason as Virginia Tech coach, and that means recruiting. And National Signing Day is the result and evaluation. We bring in Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC to help us break down the Hokies coming off another 7-6 campaign. Mike, your thoughts about, let's first dive into those guys that the Hokie faithful are kind of excited about seeing on the field in 2016.
Well, what we got is a host of 4-star recruits, and Virginia Tech has brought in no shortage of 3- and 4-star athletes over the past couple of seasons. What we're seeing here at the quarterback position, which is obviously a position of need with not only a new offense coming in with Justin Fuente and his system, but with Michael Brewer departing, leaving school with his graduate degree. Joshua Jackson was a 4-star quarterback. He's the number 8 dual threat quarterback in the country, 6'1", 203-pound guy that can do a lot of different things. He's out of Saline, Michigan, so we went out of state to go get him. He's a guy that has loads of potential, and the coaching staff has really raved about him since he's been on campus here over the last couple of weeks in workouts. He's one of these guys that was one of those people that came in and signed early and is already on campus working out with the team in advance of spring ball. So very good to see him making a good first impression there for Justin Fuente and that offense. Additionally, they have a JUCO transfer in Jarod Evans. He's a number 3 dual threat quarterback out of junior college. He's a 6'4", 220-pound quarterback, a big kid. He's kind of been seen as maybe this guy that could be the favorite going into the spring anyway. Coming in, he was kind of unexpected, much similar to Michael Brewer a couple seasons ago, where he's coming into the fold and they weren't necessarily expecting him. But we know the depth the Hokies have at quarterback with Dwayne Lawson, the 6'5" guy coming in out of Florida a couple seasons ago. He had an offensive quality control coach at Virginia Tech, coached at his high school and came in with him, but he was on Frank Beamer's staff, so he has since departed. And Dwayne Lawson, they burned his red shirt last season when Michael Brewer went down. Then they have the senior leader, Brendan Motley, who could absolutely come into the fold as well because he has the leadership and the veteran experience. He does have a multitude of games under his belt since Brewer's been hurt, and over the last couple of seasons, he's come in as kind of a wildcat quarterback. So while Virginia Tech has some guys there already on campus, they have some guys they're bringing in as well at the quarterback position that they can be excited about.
Yeah, there's been complaints in recent years about the offense not generating much vibe, not just a whole lot of points and yardage on the field, but just not a lot of excitement out of the passing game. But based on what you talked about at the quarterback position and also at wide receiver, there could be good things in store in regards to kind of reviving the offense.
Right. So the big thing about Virginia Tech's offense over the last couple of seasons is that they had Isaiah Ford. He was the one constant. Cam Phillips was a work in progress at receiver as well. Then you had Bucky Hodges, who really is a tight end, but he's split out in receiver in a lot of different sets. But they're really searching for, and they really needed a third receiver this year to kind of give them that depth. So they could have had 3 receivers on the field plus the tight end and Bucky Hodges that they could feel good about. And they got 3 4-star receivers coming in next season that could immediately make an impact. The highest rated one, 6'4", 205-pound wide receiver, Deablo. He's a number 21 receiver in the country, one of the top recruits in the ESPN 300. He's a big guy. That's what they've needed at receiver. Because outside of Bucky Hodges, they haven't really had a guy on the outside that had a lot of size. You know, you look at Cam Phillips, he's a smaller guy, and then Isaiah Ford is 6'1". As good as he's been, you need a guy that's tall, can stretch the field, and can be a big play threat in the passing game outside of what you're doing underneath and all the deep routes that Isaiah Ford runs. You can kind of have a jump ball guy, and I think they might find that in Divine Deablo. Additionally, Samuel Denmark, a 6 foot, 176-pound kid out of Hanahan, South Carolina. He's a burner, very, very good speed, elusiveness after the catch. If you look at any of his game film, he's a guy that's electric. He reminds me a lot of Isaiah Ford, and he's going to come in and make an impact as well. And a guy that's kind of near and dear to my heart because he went to a high school that's right down the street from my house here in Northern Virginia, Eric Kuma out of Woodbridge, Virginia from Forest Park High School. 4-star recruit, 6'2", 180 pounds, does a lot of different things with the football in his hands. Was an all-state kick returner, punt returner in high school. He was all area for multiple seasons. Big-time receiver. Also made some plays on the defensive side of the football this past season at Forest Park. Played a lot of defensive back, safety primarily. Did play a little bit of nickel back, a little bit of corner. as well, but he's a guy they put all over the field in high school. He was the best athlete on the field, no matter who they went against, and he's one of the top players in the state of Virginia. So it'll be good to see him out there for the Hokies. So they got 3 guys there at receiver that can make an immediate impact. They're 4-star caliber players that, would be really, really much needed in the passing game for Virginia Tech outside of Isaiah Ford and Bucky Hodges.
Yeah, Mike, obviously those guys are the guys that have the numerous stars next to the names. In regards to what you've heard on social media, seen in regards to the video out there, any other guys that people should be excited about that maybe are flying under the radar at this point, but could be impact players down the road?
Well, defensive back, let's start with Khalil Ladler, a 4-star defensive back out of Bradenton, Florida. He went to IMG Academy this past season, did a post-grad year there, so he's coming in to a college fold and really what's become a college football factory there, the postgraduate way of life there at IMG. But Khalil Ladler is a guy that could provide the Hokies depth at the defensive back position. Now, we know Virginia Tech's one of their strongest areas of emphasis over the past couple of years has been their defense and the quality of their defensive backs, and they've recruited very well at the position, and this year's no different, bringing Khalil Ladler. He might not make an immediate impact, but he's a guy who could come into the fold over the next couple seasons and really become a reliable player, because we saw this year with Kendall Fuller going down, Virginia Tech went to a lot of different defensive backs, whether it be Adonis Alexander or Terrell Edmonds. They went to a lot of different guys there at defensive back that they weren't necessarily expecting to go to. So Khalil Ladler is a guy that can make an immediate impact, in a way that, he's going to provide depth early in his career, but later on, he's a guy that can emerge as a big-time player in the defensive backfield for Virginia Tech. As far as some guys that I think are going to fly a little bit under the radar, Javon Quillen, he's a 3-star athlete out of Hampton, Virginia, a guy that's coming from that Tidewater area that really can make a lot of plays, very athletic. He's played offense and defense in his time in high school. He's a burner, he's elusive, and he's a guy who can make a lot of plays. I think no matter where Virginia Tech puts him, he's a guy who can be a playmaker immediately, kind of in the mold of a Greg Stroman. For all of Greg Stroman's negativities, he's had a lot of positive plays that he's made offensively and defensively over a short time in Blacksburg, and he has loads of potential should he continue to improve. And I see a lot of Greg Stroman and Javon Quillen, which in most cases would be a good thing to say. Philip Patterson also is a guy, 6'2", 178 out of Virginia Beach. He went to Salem High School, which essentially has become a football factory for the Virginia Tech Hokies. They recruit a ton out of Salem. And Philip Patterson's a kid that initially had a commit to Virginia Tech months ago, back early in the summer. He then decommitted when he found out the Frank Beamer news, but Justin Fuente was able to keep him on board, and he eventually came back solid on his commitment to the Hokies, and he'll be signing on National Signing Day. And if we know anything about Virginia Tech, it's that they've done a really good job at linebacker over the last couple seasons, bringing in 3- and 4-star guys to make an impact. And Tavante Beckett is a guy, number 51 outside linebacker in the country. He's a 3-star athlete out of Chesapeake, Virginia. He played a lot of outside linebacker in high school. And we know Virginia Tech right now has a need at the linebacker position with Deion Clark graduating. And while Beckett is not an inside linebacker, he's played a lot of outside linebacker, a guy that can make an impact here in the next couple of seasons. And we know Virginia Tech and Bud Foster in that defense, they're not one to rush their linebackers into playing time unless they absolutely have to, because the linebackers typically are the captains of the defense and they call a lot of the schemes for Bud Foster. They take on a lot of responsibility, especially in the defense that Virginia Tech runs. So Tavante Beckett is a kid that could be a real impact player in the coming seasons for the Hokies, and he's a guy that's going to fly under the radar a bit.
All right. Following back-to-back 7 and 6 campaigns, Hokie faithful would love to get back to the regular status of finishing in the top 10 with major bowl appearances between the mid-90s and around 2010. Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC helping us break down Virginia Tech. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thank you, Mark.